the Crooked Letter Sports Podcast, the show about Mississippi sports and the folks who play them. I'm Tyler Cleveland, joined as always by my co-host and golfing buddy Rick Cleveland. Dad, how was your birthday weekend?
It was fine. I am now officially even par on life.
Yeah, man, you're old as dirt. 72? Golly.
Yep, 72. Who would have thought it?
I mean, not me.
Yeah.
And not you, it certainly. But did you think at 35 you were going to make 72?
That's an interesting question. I don't think I was even thinking about it at age 35. As a matter of fact, at age 35, what were you? You were 2 or 3, and Annie was just being born. So
yeah, you were.
I had other things on my
about
mind.
Making 72.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on being the oldest living Cleveland male by, I think by a good almost 10 years now.
I don't know. I'm just happy to be here and happy to be able to, talk a little sports with you.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you made it to 2024 so that you could see on Saturday the Vanderbilt Commodores take down the Alabama Crimson Tide in what has to be one of the funnest games that I have watched in a while.
Yeah, maybe we should just go ahead and give that Vanderbilt quarterback the Heisman Trophy right now.
Well, if the voting was today, I don't know how it would go. I mean, it's
unrecruited out of high school, ranked the number 206th junior college prospect in America, and you know what a upset it is for a junior college quarterback to become a star in college football. That kid made all the plays at all the right times. Tyler, I'm thinking, you say you're glad I'm around. There's some old Vanderbilt people that I wish had lived long enough to see this. Like, for instance, Michael Rubenstein, our great friend, longtime Jackson sportscaster and executive director of the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame before me. He would have loved this.
Yeah, well, I loved it, and I don't have no dog in this hunt. I loved it. And I think it doesn't really hurt Alabama all that much. I mean, I don't think it dropped them too far down in the pecking order. They're certainly still in the playoff contention and should be. They're a great team. But I'm telling you right now, if they didn't have the Ryan Williams guy, this would have been ugly. I mean, Vandy would have tarred and feathered him up there.
Yeah, Ryan Williams is one of those. Well, he's one. He's not one of those.
He's one. He's one of one.
He's one of one, and he is worth tuning in to Alabama football every Saturday just to see what he's going to do next.
But bottom line, they could not stop the Commodores. I mean, they were in this. At the end of the game, I was watching with my girlfriend, I told her that if Alabama scores right here, I don't know how much was left. I said, if they score right here, they're going to pull within 2 scores, and this game is going to be vastly different. And sure enough, they did. And it was like, all the Bama needed was like one more stop.
They couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch. The students, of course, stormed the field. They fined Vanderbilt. Was it $100,000? And the students got the goalpost, carried it through town, dumped it in the Cumberland River. It's a great story.
Yeah, Alabama leads the world in goalpost teardowns.
Well,
by the other team.
Well, by SEC rule, that payout goes to the opposing team. You pay the fine to the other team. So Alabama got $100,000 Saturday, like they need it.
They can buy another third-string offensive guard for $100,000.
Well, and what's crazy is like that Arkansas also stormed the field on Saturday after beating Tennessee, and they got fined $250,000 because it was their second offense. And it's the girlfriend turns to me and says, "What is it? This isn't Vanderbilt's second offense?" It's like, no, no, it's not.
You have to have something to celebrate.
That's right.
Tear down the goalpost. Yeah, what a great day. It just, it's one of those things that makes college football, even in the times of NIL and the portal and everything, it's one of those moments that makes it fun.
Well, we got a lot we want to get to today, Dad. And since we started with college football, we'll keep it there. We also want to talk about the Sanderson Farms Championship, the Braves season being over, the Saints, talk a little bit of high school if there's time. But speaking of being happy you're there and happy to be alive, Ole Miss back on the warpath. They look like a different team on Saturday in a 27-3 win over South Carolina. Big thing jumped off the page to me is that defense. I mean, it was just, they were electric again.
Yeah, they're really good. Nolan, the defensive attack, number 2, is one of the best players at his position in America. I mean, he's just fantastic. He's going to be a great pro.
Yeah.
He's a terrific player. They can't block him.
Yeah.
But South Carolina sure couldn't block him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got a guy up front. You saw what happened against Kentucky with Ole Miss. I mean, one guy that can't be blocked, as you saw with Chris Jones on Monday night against the Saints.
Yeah.
We can't get there yet. Yeah. But one guy can make a huge difference in a football game at that position, and he does. I'll also say Suntarian Perkins is about as good as he gets.
He's becoming what we thought he would be.
Yeah. I mean, he flashed some of it last year, but man, he looks good. The Rebels have a huge game this week. They have opened up as a 2.5-point favorite at LSU Saturday. How you feeling about that? And I mean, and of all the Ole Miss and LSU games that we have previewed together or looked at over the years, I mean, do you think this one may be the most hyped matchup?
It's certainly in there. I mean, Ole Miss hadn't been a favorite at LSU very often.
Yeah.
But they're favored, and they should be. I think they're a better football team. That doesn't mean they're going to win the game, but I think if both teams play at their peak, I think Ole Miss wins the game by a touchdown to 10 points.
Well, that would be neat because that would that would push the Rebels to 5-1 or 6-1 and into some interesting air going into the key games in the season. Kind of where we at the beginning of the year, kind of where we thought they would be. Thought they might be 6-0 right now, but the one loss with all the other losses in college football and where they are right now in the pecking order in terms of the playoff. What do you think the road is for them?
Well, they need to win Saturday. I mean, one thing we said, I remember when we talked in our preseason preview, when we looked down the schedule, we said this was the game. Mm-hmm. This would probably determine where they end up, and I still think that. I think this LSU game is just critical. They gotta find a way to win it down there.
Yeah, I think and I know we shouldn't look ahead too far because we're one injury to Jackson Dart away from having a much different conversation. But in the big picture of things, I mean, maybe they could lose one more if it was to Georgia or one more if it's not to Georgia. I'm not sure I
just don't think you can lose 3.
No, you can't lose 3, I don't think.
So still got to play Georgia, still got to play Oklahoma. They need to win Saturday. I mean, I just say it again. They got to win Saturday.
Yeah. Well, I had somebody, point out that it was like, well, if they're one of their losses is to an unranked Kentucky team, I said, buddy, if you don't think Kentucky is one of the 25 best teams in America, you're crazy.
Yeah.
So, all right. Before we move on from college football, we will mention Southern Miss, a 23-13 loser to Lafayette. If I have to watch one more Southern Miss game, I mean, this has been going on, and this is not a Coach Hall thing. This is not it just seems like we've been watching Southern Miss football run average 2.1 yards a carry for a decade. And it's maddening to watch.
Yeah, they got to find a way to run the football, and they're not. I just don't know if they have the bodies up front to do it.
This sounds so familiar. Have we had this conversation before?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just making sure because it seems I'm having a little bit of deja vu here. Dad, before we move on from football completely, we've got to mention this Saints-Chiefs game.
We should, before we leave college football, talk about, Mississippi State going to Georgia this week.
You're right. That's a big one. I was looking at it. Mississippi State 1-4, Georgia 4-1. Georgia has played angry. It seemed they played Auburn this past weekend. Looked angry, played angry. Do you give Mississippi State a shot?
No.
No.
I mean, there's all.
That was the quickest no I've ever heard.
It would be right in there right now. It would be right in there with Vanderbilt knocking off Alabama. I mean, it could happen. But you look, you got Georgia that's got, I mean, they've been the best program in college football over the last 5 years. And, they've got an established staff, an established head coach, a veteran quarterback. They got all the things that right now Mississippi State doesn't have. It's 4 and 5 stars across the board. I don't know what the line is. What is it, 24?
I do not know.
It's got to be way on up there. Anyway, what State needs to be doing is try to do, just keep trying to improve and play hard. And that's the best they can hope for this year.
Well, I certainly thought they played better at Texas. And
no doubt. That's what they're trying to do at Georgia.
Well, yeah. So is Georgia.
Yeah.
I'd have they're also got a little bit to play for.
Yeah.
So this Saints game on Monday night, again, one of the more frustrating games you could. I mean, we all got together to watch it for your birthday.
Yeah.
And what a wonderful present they gave you, other than the Kalen Saunders interception and return for the Saints, which was maybe the most exciting 20 seconds of my week. If you didn't see, listeners who didn't see it, the big man caught a ball on a tip
in the
end zone and rumbled about 40 yards or so.
Yeah.
On the return. Love it when a big guy gets his hands on the football, and boy, he's pretty athletic.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to see if he could have made it all the way to the other end.
I know he couldn't get to that sideline, to that oxygen tank fast enough. But yeah, no, it was other than that, it was pretty dreary, man. The Chiefs kind of doubled him up in total yards, and I mean, just kind of asserted themselves.
Well, this isn't the Saints team that started the season. I mean, their injuries have already, you lose your center, who's the best player on the offensive line. Then you lose Taysom Hill, who's like their best player at 3 positions.
Mm-hmm.
And now, at the end of the game, we saw Derek Carr go to the locker room. So, I mean,
So I was refreshing Twitter this morning with the Derek Carr in the search bar over and over and over. I'm terrified to hear he's going to have some strained oblique that keeps him out a couple of weeks because, I felt like the losses that the Saints sustained to this point, the Atlanta one was just as bad as it gets in terms of when needing a win and not getting one. But I thought the other ones were understandable. I mean, it's the Eagles and the Chiefs. These are really good teams, and we were banged up, But, I mean, you look down the line, if Derek Carr misses a month, then there's a chance that the hole will be too big once he gets back. And we'll get in a situation where you get to the last game of the season and you need 3 other games to break your way or whatever the hell it is. We've been through this too many damn times.
Yeah, seen that.
But, I felt like they had no business being in that game. The Chiefs, like I said, more than doubled them up in total yardage. It was just a matter of, but you look at the end and it's like a 2-score game. It would have been a 1-score game if not for the absolute BS phantom defensive holding call against the Saints that's all over the internet today. For those who didn't see, they called holding on Carl Granderson, who was on
the other side
on a running play by the Chiefs, who's on the other side of the line away from everybody. They flag him for holding, and of course on the TV broadcast they never show the replay. They never mention it again. They just say, "Oh, there's a holding call against the Saints and Carl Granderson," and he's confused as to why he's getting the flag call, and then they never show the play.
So we ran it back five times.
Well, 5 times, watched it over and over. Cannot find holding anywhere. They just absolutely blew a call at a critical moment that would have given it would have kept it to a reasonable deficit for the Saints, who never scored again anyway.
It was an awful call. It was just, inexplicable. I saw a lot of people on Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it say that it's a fix.
Well, it's they say it's a reoccurring theme with the Chiefs. Now, I don't know that because I don't watch the Chiefs. I only watch the Saints, so I don't know. I can tell you how good the Saints are and how good the teams who have played the Saints are.
I prefer to think it's human error and the guy just missed a call.
Well, that or, it's like, oh, the Saints did something right. They must have they must have bent the rules a little bit.
I have one more takeaway on that game.
Okay.
Chris Jones is the best defensive lineman that's maybe I've ever seen in my life, but he's just totally dominant.
Yeah.
The Saints couldn't double team him and block him.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, here's the deal. When it comes to allowing pressure on the quarterback, the Saints offense needs no help. And Chris Jones is about as good as it gets. Maybe the best. I mean, I know he's at least one or two best guys in the league right now, and maybe one of the best ever. Right. So you tell me you're playing a Saints team who has reshuffled the offensive line for the third week in a row. It's not what you want. You'd love to have the Eric McCoy in that situation to line up across from him. And when you lose a guy like that, it's not going to get any easier. And
when you're missing a guard and a center,
yeah, tough.
And you're going against Chris Jones, the results 99.9% of the time are going to be what we saw last night. Yeah.
Well, I don't know that the Saints could have blocked him with the guard and center that they started the season with. Both of them.
They'd have had a better shot.
They would have had a better shot. Dad, also over the weekend on Sunday, both of us spent our Sunday afternoon out at the Sanderson Farms Championship, which we are happy to say after a rather, I guess we were doing a lot of hand-wringing on the show last week about the future of the tournament. Apparently, we're going to get another year.
Yeah, big news. It came Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And out of the blue, I had kept hearing out there on Thursday that there was a shot at a new sponsor and at least another year of the tournament. And I was, I'm trying to figure who in the world the sponsor could be. There just aren't a lot of companies like Sanderson Farms that are based in Mississippi.
We're based in Mississippi.
Yeah, well.
I mean, they're still here, but, they're owned by an out-of-state company, right? That's how we got into the situation.
Yeah, right. But Sanderson Farms re-up for another year, and which gives Century Club Charities a chance to, 12 more months to find a successor,
right?
Or find another sponsor, and that's a tough deal.
And see how things shake out on the PGA Tour.
Well,
with the
there's
scheduling.
A lot of things happening on the tour. We don't know we don't know what the fall schedule is going to look like when the new format comes out. But I'm glad they're going to do it one more time. I started last week writing about all my memories of the tournament. 57 years of memories.
Well, that's because you're 72. We got to get those memories on paper, Bubba.
Well, I think so. Yeah. But at any rate, I'm glad to have another year to hey, I can just take that column and add
plug it in next year.
But it was a great tournament. The weather was great. The golf was unbelievable.
It really was. That's what I was going to say is I hope it comes back forever because it was a lot of fun to watch. Sunday, of course, Kevin Yu won in a playoff over Bo Hostler. It looked like we were going to have a 3-man playoff there for a minute, but it ended up being 2. They played 18 again, and you made 2 birdies, right?
He birdied the hardest hole on the course back to back.
Yeah.
That hole's a 505-yard par 4. I could get there with a driver, a 3-wood, and a really good wedge.
Yeah.
And Kevin Yu the first time he hit driver and 8-iron, the second time he hit driver and 9-iron. And he's, Tyler, he's like 5'10" and 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
I mean, I don't know. These guys, all of them have ridiculous power. I mean, that's what the takeaway that I get every time I get to watch these guys in person or follow them around for a couple of holes. Just every drive, every swing. I say every. It's just about every drive and every swing looks like my absolute best Sunday punch. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It looks like the best shot that I've hit this year. But they do it. They're so consistent and they're so good. And he drove it really well. I followed him down the stretch. I was between him and the group behind him that had Hostler in it, just because they were the two coming down the stretch. Also got a chance to see Ricky Fowler play. I went early enough to catch his last 9 holes and walk with him. He had a big following. He hit the hell out of it on a couple. He can really hit it well.
Yeah, he's another little guy that gets it out there.
He does. And he seemed to be having fun with the fans. It was a pretty good experience.
So I have a question for you.
Sure.
Kevin Hughes said, that his dad was a golf pro in Chinese Taipei, which I call Taiwan in my column. But he said that his inspiration was when he was 5 years old is he wanted to get good enough to beat his daddy.
Yeah.
So what happened to you?
Well, I did not have that ambition. I never wanted you to, first of all, I'm going to say it on the air, you haven't won every time we've ever played. I have won once that I know of.
Yeah.
Because I wrote it down and I still have the card and I may or may not have framed it. But just so you know, I did get that good, first of all. I'm not that good right now, but I got that good at one point. But yeah, no, I think that's as good a reason as any to get good at something. And I inherited a lot of things from you, but that little competitive streak, I didn't get that for some reason.
Yeah, that was really cool. The story he told about driving into the parking lot last week with his dad, and his dad pulled into the first empty spot, and Kevin told him, said, "Dad, you can't park here. This is for past champions." And his dad said, "Oh, okay. Well, we'll park here next year."
That's right.
That's great. That's a great
fantastic
story.
It is.
Yeah.
And he was a very deserving. What did he end up shooting? 22?
23.
23. Wow.
23 under par on a 7,500-yard golf course with slick greens.
Yeah.
These guys are good.
Oh, I know. Well, I saw that, and what's crazy is, and the course is hard. For the record, anybody who hasn't, you really don't get appreciation for it until you get out there and walk it, because it's how long it is, and the undulation of the greens, which you can't. A lot of times, from when you're there in person, you can't really see unless you're like eye level with it. But it's incredibly hard. The guy that shot 12 under 60. Could have shot 59, but he shot 12 under 60 on Thursday.
Yeah.
Skins, who I had never heard of, but he finished the tournament at 13.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea of how tough it is.
Yeah, that's the average. Randy told us last week that he thinks the average, like 6 or 7 handicapper at, one of his clubs probably would not break 100 playing it the way they play it.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you, if I had to do it in front of all those people with everybody hushing every time I stand over a ball, plus I need them to say something as soon as I let it go, or everybody's going to hear me.
Yeah, and the Bermuda rough, in case they don't get in it as much as we do, but when they get in it, you can't see the ball.
Yeah, no, I wanted to take a nap in it. It was really soft. It was really nice, but it was so hot. But no, it's just you watch them and the stuff they have to go through. I watched Gary Woodland have a conversation with a rules official that lasted no less than it was like a 10-minute conversation. And it's like, well, you got to drop it here, you can't drop it there, you can't go this way, you can't go that way, and just the stress that would put on a normal golfer, like an average weekend warrior. I can't describe to you how difficult that must be.
Well, I was kind of amused by the shot Hostler had where he was asking for relief.
Yeah.
On the 18th hole, where he drove it left and it's right behind an oak tree. And
that's where I was standing. Yeah, I was right there.
He wanted to go. He said he told the rules official he wanted to go left and take it over
the grandstand.
Yeah, and the guy said, "That's not can't hit that shot. There's a limb hanging.
Yeah.
It was blocking him.
No. Oh, he had full confidence. He was ready. He kept pointing over there. I kept going, why is he pointing? I was like, why is he pointing at the practice range? You
can't. That was not let's put it this way. It wasn't like the Chiefs game with the Saints.
Yeah.
The officials got this one right.
Yeah.
And he made a hell of a par.
He did. He did. He had a really good shot from there. Like I said, I was standing over there. That was my only gripe with the weekend was that if you had of course, I had a press. When I'm watching the other people, the patrons who've come out, they got to find a way that more people can see what happens on the 18th green, because they have the whole thing boxed in now with those seats, the sponsors club, and the I can't remember what the other box is up there, but I just
corporate sponsors.
Yeah, corporate sponsors, and I think there was another one where a more expensive ticket would get you in. But there's lots of people out there that pay the grounds fee to go follow the golfer all the way around, and you watch a whole round, and you get to the 18th green and you can't see. So they got to fix. That's all I'm saying.
At the very least, have a big video board that showing,
or like a peasant seating area for the rest of us. I'm just saying. I mean, I just want to throw it out there. But the rest of it, I mean, the tournament was great. I thought the turnout was good. The weather was really nice until it got really hot on Sunday. I think especially if you were out there earlier in the day, you get pretty unfiltered access to whichever golfer you want to watch, especially those early rounds. I mean, you went and followed Wilson around. I mean, you're basically walking around with somebody. I mean, it's very nice.
It's a great thing for Jackson and Mississippi to have, and I hope we have it for years to come.
Yeah, and I hope they raise a bunch of money for children's charities always. Dad, the only other thing I want to mention before we get out of here today, the Atlanta Braves season is over. It was kind of rough and tumble with the injuries, but they slipped into the playoffs, and I figured that was about as far as they were going to go, and that's how it kind of shook out. Just thought that, they just weren't – I didn't think they had a playoff roster by the time the playoffs got here. No,
and the truth is they're one of the top 3 or 4 teams in baseball when everybody's healthy. You can't lose the league MVP,
the Cy Young
winner. You and several other really quality players. Mm-hmm. You just can't. I mean, we're unfortunately the 2 teams that we watch most at our house that you grew up watching with me are the Braves and the Saints, and the same thing's happening to both of them in 1 year. They're just getting injured out of the race.
Well, I think the difference is I expected the Braves to be halfway decent,
Well, they are.
I mean, and I still think you're right. They were one of the, but I will say this, to be fair, I mean, you lose those guys and it's always disheartening, but there was a lot of season left when that happened, and I still thought that they had a chance to be really good down the stretch. The truth is Matt Olson had a down year. Austin Riley had a down year, although he came on. I mean, both of them turned it around at different parts of the season. But if you look at the season as a whole, the numbers were down across the board.
Shortstop.
Arcia, it was an automatic out, especially with runners on late in the season. So there are some – I mean, I'm not saying they need to upgrade. They could upgrade at shortstop, but those other 2 players are not going to find an upgrade for them. I just thought they had a down year at the wrong time when we also had injuries, and maybe the injuries had a lot to do with that. They didn't have protection in the lineup, that kind of thing.
Oh, my old friend from his days in Jackson, Brian Snicker, I thought did an incredible job of holding it all together.
I mean, the fact that we were in the playoffs, I mean, had no business being there.
Yeah.
I didn't think they had any business having a winning record if you look at all the injuries and the time on the shelf for all the key pieces. But, it just kind of shook out that way. Like I said, when they got there, I didn't expect them to go very far.
Yeah, but I am, of course, looking forward to next April and another go-round.
Yeah, well, you just come over to my house. We got plenty of Kool-Aid. We're going to drink it all. I'm telling you. The big question, I guess, in the offseason is Max Fried and whether Spencer Schwellenbach gets a big contract. I mean, I don't know. Everybody's so locked in. There's not a whole lot of drama, contract-wise. There's not a whole lot of drama with the Braves. Do you think there's any chance they re-sign Max Fried?
Very little from what I hear. I mean, you could just see the way he was acting. He thought it was the end of him as a Brave. I mean, I don't think he'll be back.
I mean, I think if he wants a big offer, if that's what he wants is money, if that is his main motivating factor, then he'll play somewhere else. And if he wants to do some kind of deal like Harris and Acuna or even, I mean, Ozzie Albies is the best contract in baseball. Yeah. I mean, it ain't no doubt. It's just if he wants to do one of those, then he may be a Brave. But I just think his value on the open market is going to be astronomical, given his age.
A left-hander with his numbers, he's a commodity. Yeah.
Well, I hope they can get it worked out. But I just think that contract situation and then the Spencer Schwellenbach deal where he's right at that, he's flashed the potential, but he's right at that age where they gave Strider the big bag to make sure that he wasn't going anywhere for a while. And I'm interested, since the Strider, they big deal and then immediately gets hurt for a whole. I'm interested to see if they'll be a little gun shy on doing the same for Schwellenbach. I think he's going to be a great player for a long time, barring a horrific injury of some kind.
He's like Strider number 2.
That's what I'm saying. So do you think they'll do the same thing and back the Brinks truck up?
I don't know. I know. I trust Anthony Anthopoulos.
Yeah,
to do
me too. Isn't that a nice feeling to feel like your GM's not an idiot?
Yeah, I think he'll do whatever needs to be done. I'd like to send him a note and tell him that you probably could get Jake Mangum, and he would be a great fourth outfielder for you to have. And
he really would. I think Jake Mangum could play left field.
Or center field or right field, and be a pinch runner and be a pinch hitter. And
I love Jake, but we're not going to start him in center over Harris or right over Acuna. So
I know,
that's the spot.
But you saw this year.
I know. I want him to sign him and start him.
Yeah.
DH Ozuna. Anytime Marcell Ozuna goes into the field in left field, they should fine your buddy for starting him out there. He's a defensive liability. I just think Mangum, I've always thought Jake Mangum could be, in fact, if I was the Braves GM, it would be the first call I would make. I'm going to throw it out there.
Well, we needed to get Jake and get him in here one time. I mean, he led the International League in hitting this year.
I know, but it ain't any questions for him. We need to get Alex Anthopoulos in here and demand to know why we have not traded for Jake Mangum. Yeah. All right, Dad, what are you looking forward to the most this week?
Well, I got to say, the Ole Miss-LSU game ought to be
it'll be a barn burner, man.
It's always fun.
I know. I wish we were going.
Yeah. I'm kind of still thinking about it.
Well, if you end up going to Death Valley, I'm tagging along. That's all I'm saying. Until then, guys, thanks for tuning in this week. We'll talk to you next week, and we'll catch up a little bit more on all these Mississippi teams and as we continue through the season. Thanks for listening in, and y'all have a good one out there.